Hello and welcome to the Realty debate. Let's rewind a bit to November 2016. On the 8th of November, demonetization was announced. Many learned men prophesied the doom of real estate industry. More than a quarter of a year is behind us now since demonetization, and the reports coming in seem to be contradicting the predictions. In fact, Residential Market Outlook for 2017 by CBRE says that Indian residential supply has jumped up by 70% quarter on quarter in the first quarter of 2017. Compared to only 18,000 units launched in the fourth quarter of 2016, we have seen more than 30,000 units launched in the first quarter of 2017. Biggest jump was in Chennai, Hyderabad, Kolkata and Bangalore. India housing sales have also jumped up by 70% compared to only 14,000 units sold in the fourth quarter of 2016. We have seen more than 23,000 units sold in the first quarter of 2017. Biggest jump was again in Chennai, Hyderabad, Bangalore and Pune. So now the prediction is that housing sales are expected to revive in the first half of 2017, both in primary and secondary markets. That brings us to our topic. Are green shoots visible in India's real estate? Will 2017 be the year of turnaround with renewed push to affordable housing? And to discuss this, we have with us Mr. J.C. Sharma, VC and MD of Sobha Limited. We also have Gaurav Mittal, Managing Director, CHT Developers Limited. We have with us Anshuman Magazine, Chairman, India and Southeast Asia of CBRE. We also have Anurag Jhanwar, he's Business Head, Consulting and Data Insights, PropTiger.com. Welcome gentlemen. Let's begin with you Mr. Sharma, because Bengaluru is a place where you've been highly active, and it is being said that Bengaluru, Pune, Chennai, Hyderabad, these are the areas which are seeing maximum activity. Now, what do you think? Actually, do your sales figure also support this report from CBRE? Are you also seeing that in your books?
Yeah, of course, yes. If you look at where we were, as you very correctly put it across, in the last quarter of the last calendar year 2016 versus the first quarter of 2017, and especially from the month of March onwards, we have clearly seen the trend not only reversing for the better, but we are also seeing that the customers today are far more confident and taking less time to take the call of buying a home, and which is getting reflected in our numbers, and we believe that this trend should continue going forward as well.
Okay. What do you say, Anshuman? The report definitely says that 2017 is the year, and maybe we will see a lot of activity. If your report actually rolls out on the ground also, then we will see a lot of activity this year. Do you think so?
Certainly, it's about time too. We have had slow, especially residential real estate for last few years, and we are seeing 2017 things are starting to pick up. There's lots happening. I think 2017 will be a very interesting year for real estate. One, that after a long time we are seeing the supply of residential improving, we are seeing sales improving. Now the fact is, it is coming from a relatively lower base also, because last few years have been slow, but things, it's starting to pick up. And besides, with all what's happening with the economy, our GDP forecast so far looks good. The sentiment slowly coming back, it'll take time, but the fact is, the bottom line is, there is still demand for housing. There are still a lot of people who don't own houses. There is still jobs being created. There is shift from rural to urban areas. So that underlying demand is there, and at the right price point, whatever the supply comes in, I think they will start slowly. The sales will come up because the demand is there. As the confidence comes back into the market, as the sentiment improves, if our economy continues to grow, we do expect the 17 to be a turning point especially for the residential real estate market.
Okay, so Gaurav, what are your numbers say? Because are you feeling that when people come and talk to you about buying a house, do you feel that they're actually interested in buying?
See, buying a house is a basic need for anyone. We say roti kapda makan. Roti and kapra and then makan. Makan is something that, residential housing is required, is a basic need in India. I mean, people do require, there is a gap, clearly. But what had happened initially was there's a lot of discomfort in terms of, whether they will get that property on time, is there any authority to take care of, their complaints, the regulations and everything. I think we have, the government has helped it up and they've set up a authority. It has been implemented. So which has raised a customer's confidence. It was not about the requirement, whether people have a requirement or not. Moreover, it was, whether they should buy it now or later.
So
It was a faith. So people were waiting and watching for a very long time. I think post demonetization, post the way that, the RERA is now being implemented, which will be win-win for everyone, there is no other reason why people should not buy anymore or take that decisions. So exactly whatever you're saying, that now there is an increased confidence, people are very bullish about buying into real estate, whether it is, your luxury or affordable or mid-segment, there is a demand everywhere.
Okay.
So, I mean, great times ahead. We look forward to, servicing our customers really well.
Okay, so a lot of positive sentiment there. Anurag, what are your data insights saying?
So largely if you look at Q3 of 2016, calendar year 2016, I think that was one of the best months in terms of performance on launches and sales. And Q4 was doomed because of demonetization and there were a lot of negative sentiments where people did not want to come forward. Progressively from Jan onward, Jan, Feb, March, April, as we move forward, I think the confidence has definitely come back. Obviously, I would also say that the progressive government policies in terms of on the affordable side, reduction of interest rates has also helped. And also on the supply side, I think developers have gone out of way to kind of bring back the confidence in the end customer's mind. So I think these two factors together, along with the realization that the prices are at the lowest level, have helped the markets to kind of move forward. So far I would say definitely the Q4 of 2016 or financial year 2016 has been much better and probably almost near to the Q3 or the Q2 of financial 2016.
Okay, so this much is clear that things are picking up. But Mr. Sharma, what do you think will be the key factors that will drive the growth in 2017? Is it, if we keep aside RERA, what do you think, affordable housing is the only thing, or do you expect that more money will come into real estate now for funding? What do you think?
Anjali, it's a combination of all the things what you talked about. Let's start with demonetization. What had happened that today there is excess liquidity in the system, and that liquidity channeled to the mutual funds, the liquidity channeled to the equity markets, and you are clearly seeing the Sensex and the Nifty at its all-time high. And this is primarily liquidity driven. Rupee has appreciated. And you cannot keep investing in equity without having the underlying benefits. At the same time, the market has clearly deciphered as far as the housing finance companies are concerned, because they can take the loan from one bank to other bank sort of a thing, and uniformly all these housing finance companies, they have shown stellar growth. So somewhere the decision making process has been expedited. Now coming back to the basic requirement of a home, there had never been a better budget than the budget 2017 budget of Mr. Arun Jaitley. Be it affordable housing you talk about, where we have got the infrastructure status, we have got the income tax benefits, be it the CLSS scheme, where today not only the EWS, but beyond this LIG and MIG category 1 and category 2, up to 18 lakhs rupees income, today government is depositing the money in the account of the borrower. Then you take for instance the Provident Fund scheme. Today the Labour Department has also moved forward and said even if you have 20,000 plus money in your Provident Fund account, you can choose to buy a home, 90% of that corpus can be utilized for that, or you can choose to pay EMI from your corpus. Such things were not available. On top of this, you have the interest rate reduction. On top of this, you get now RERA and the GST. RERA means today you have to be transparent, you have to be accountable, you should have financial discipline, and you should be clear that what you are selling, right, you should deliver on time. And with all such things, an economy still continuously showing 7 to 8% growth, housing has to take the center stage once again. And that is where, when you say it is a turnaround time, I 100% agree that all the external conditions have been created to our advantage. It is now for us to rise to the occasion and ensure that we achieve what is asked from us.
Great. So Anshuman, when we rattled off certain figures in the beginning, we talked about how launches have increased, but we also talked about sales increasing. Now, Mr. Sharma has just listed a few key policy changes that the government has done and given a push. Do you feel sales are going to be driven by affordable now?
Certainly. I just want to add one more thing to what Mr. Sharma said. Another factor which is bringing, improving sales is the price points. What was happening earlier, especially in Delhi and Mumbai markets, I think in South the prices did not increase as much as it did in NCR and Mumbai, and that's why the South market had been relatively more stable. But now the prices in some places, the real estate prices, at least the residential, has actually come down, other places are flat. And even if it's not increased, I think that makes it more what we call it attractive for buyers to buy into residential. The second, you talked about affordable. I think there are two categories and it's always mixed. One is low cost housing and one is affordable housing. We a lot of times call low cost also affordable and affordable also low cost. But the fact is that demand going forward will be driven both from the low cost side and affordable. So low cost is of course that 60 square meters of what the government has said, where the size has also gone up. So it is really now touching the affordable side, and also the affordable segment would be the key driver. What is also interestingly happening is for many years there was talk about affordable housing, right? But mostly the supply was not coming there, and the reason for that was many. The land costs were high. The effort to do low cost or affordable is as much as doing a bit of higher cost residential. So there wasn't too much incentive for a developer to do that, like any other businessman, not to blame them at all. But today the government has given incentives. I feel they can do more, but still better than before, where there is it will drive developers to go into the affordable category and the low cost category of housing, especially affordable, not only because of incentives but because the demand is the highest there, and we would see more affordable housing coming, more than what has come before.
Okay, incentives are never enough. No matter how many you give, you always want more, and that's an undeniable fact. But Anurag, what do you think? Sales, because I'm really concerned about the fact that if sales are going to go up, and we are already saying that we are seeing a jump in sales, those numbers are going to be driven by which segment?
See, affordable definitely yes. Our data says that from 50% of overall sales, which is affordable is less than 50 lakhs, in the last quarter the share of sales was 60%, which is a massive jump. However, one thing needs to be noted, as a value of the industry, affordable being now launching at say 15 to 20 lakhs also, that is decreasing. In terms of units, we will keep on seeing increases. The incentive part, definitely today all the developers are looking at, they have gone to the drawing board, they are looking at how they can do better affordable housing. But the challenge of infrastructure still remains. The moment you are talking about bringing a supply which is less than 20 lakhs, you are talking about peripherals of the city. And then the issue comes of whether it is still connected, well connected, and you have social infra in place. So, that is a balancing act where the government has to also equally keep an eye. And going by the policies, I think the impetus is also to improve infrastructure. So both of them together, there is no second thought that affordable is the one which is going to drive the Indian real estate market.
Gaurav, when we listen to all these policy changes that the government has brought in, and the entire din that is being created with affordable and giving infrastructure status, and do you feel tempted? Do you want to get into that category? Do you feel it's going to benefit you?
Definitely. I mean, we are already tempted, and I think we are going to launch affordable plotting and floors soon in Karnal. So we are already at it. But which does not mean that real estate has always been about perception, and once the perception improves, it improves for every segment. So it can be affordable. Yes, there was a mismatch on the, the availability of affordable or low cost housing in the market. All the developers were behind luxury or mid segment. So the affordable segment was totally, not looked at. Post the government's incentive on special low cost and affordable housing, developers have started to move there. And there is an impetus of, delivering and bringing that supply into the market, which was neglected for a very long time. Yes, I mean, there is a category which is definitely going to boom, and there's going to be a lot of demand there. But at the same time, we see that after all these, steps which the government has taken, I mean, there is a good perception in the market. There's a good feel about buying houses and real estate in India again after a gap of almost 4 to 5 years. So, I mean, all those, mid-segment, luxury, affordable, low-cost housing, they are definitely going to do well in 2017.
Okay, so I'll quickly ask all you gentlemen, because I want to know, what do you think will make this turnaround or this growth sustainable? Is it a flash in the pan, or will it be sustained? So that's exactly what I want to know. I want to get to the bottom of that. So Anshuman, what is it that will sustain this growth and actually make 2017 the year of turnaround?
I would give number one criteria on price, and I hope the price, and at least we don't expect the prices to go up, but if the prices remain competitive, that will encourage people to invest. Number two is, of course, mortgage rates, the interest rates. If they remain the same, or even if they go down further, there's no indication that will happen in the near future. But if that happens, or even if it remains flat, that will encourage. And the third is RERA, which is one end. There's a lot of, I feel the RERA bill can be more balanced. But I think RERA this year, it will take next few months before it really gets rolling across the country. That will give confidence to consumers to invest, because I feel the money is there. It's just that the trust and the confidence of that consumers, people sitting on the fence, will start investing again if the RERA bill is implemented. So I think that will be which will move the needle.
And Mr. Sharma, how do you feel that this can be ensured that this is not just flash in the pan and it is a sustained growth?
You are absolutely right. It cannot be a flash in the pan. See, the industry is cyclical in nature also. So when we are talking about all such things, we need to also bear in mind that when the growth is coming back because of that engineered external factors and the nature of the industry as such, right? You have also gone through with 3 to 4 years of difficult times. So while you have been going through the difficult times, as Anshuman has been highlighting, that the prices have tended to either come down or have remained stable, whereas the average home buyer salary levels or income levels in the last 3-4 years has definitely gone up. So his affordability has improved, his requirement or need has also increased with the passing away of time. So according to me, in any case you are entering into a cyclical phase where this growth should be there, as it had been seen in the past. We have seen from 2003 to 2007 late or 8 beginning, India grew and the housing sector grew exponentially. We may not get that kind of a blind growth thanks to RERA this time, but at least from a quantum point of view, my belief is even now we are doing not as good as we used to do even in 11, 12, 13, or even we had done in 7, 8. So if that kind of a demand is still yet to come, where the economy has almost doubled, according to me, first volume pickup has to be there, then it has to be sustained, and with the external environment becoming favorable, maybe this time this growth will be sustained for a much longer period, as we have witnessed in other developing countries.
Well, absolutely. Well, I'm not too sure about the salary increasing for everyone, but yes, the need is definitely increasing, and as you say, the steady growth is what we need, and that's fairly important. But Anurag, what about you? What do you think will sustain this?
I think two things. One is that the confidence level has to come back, and that is very, very important. So even if people have money and they don't have confidence that this is the right price, they will not come and make the purchase. Secondly, for the increment, for the industry to grow from here, I think the employment generation has to be more widespread. not only service sector but also the manufacturing sector. So the Make in India, whatever investments have been talked about, now we need to see the I would say employment generation on ground. I think these two things together should be able to kind of ensure that we have a sustainable growth going forward.
Okay, so sentiment, as Anurag is saying, and Gaurav, you've been, I think, focused on that point. Perception, sentiment, that has to be there. So what do you think is this key to sustainability? Sentiment only?
See, obviously, I mean, it's a mixed bag of everything. Sentiment is definitely there. I mean, real estate is all about sentiments. Unless you feel good about investing in something that you're going to get in the future, you will not invest anything today. You will not take that call today. So obviously sentiment is the key to real estate, and I think all the checkpoints are already checked in terms of what all possibilities and all things can go wrong have already been cleared. So there's nothing to get scared about investing into real estate anymore. The price points have already corrected, and you cannot go further down from what you are today. I mean, the developers have not increased any prices in the past 4 years,
Absolutely.
Which is already a correction into the, their costs have gone up. They cannot afford to even cut down by a single rupee a square feet. So, this is the price, and this is the cheapest today. So real estate, cheapest today. At the same time, the interest rates are going down, and which has become more affordable. At the same time, the security of getting into RERA into action. So everything is there. So
Gaurav has made quite an aggressive sales pitch here. So he's definitely hoping that the buyers will now jump into the market. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for joining this debate. Real estate industry is waiting with the bated breath for a revival, and these early signs come as a good news for the industry. Thank you so much, gentlemen. It's time for a short break now. When we come back, we examine the progress in Dwarka Expressway as the Minister for Road Transport and Highways promises to deliver Eastern Peripheral Expressway by this August.